Who was the most outstanding player for Sooner softball throughout the fall? Who was the offensive most outstanding player? Defensive most outstanding player? I've got my fall awards for OU softball now that fall ball has wrapped up. And as always, I want your submissions. I want your comments. Drop your most outstanding player winners in the comments. Don't forget, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But the fall awards, let's get to them. I've got several categories to give awards out. Offensive most outstanding player, pitcher of the fall, defensive most outstanding player, transfer portal player of the fall, freshman of the fall, and then overall MVP as well. I'm going to start with offensive most outstanding player because I think it's probably the most difficult one currently on the board. Here are your three nominees that I have. I have Ella Parker as a nominee. You've got Cassidy Pickering as a nominee. Ailana Agbayani are my three nominees for offensive most outstanding player throughout the fall. How do you pick between these three? They were all fantastic. Ailana Agbayani felt like she had 2 or 3 hits every single game. All she did was get on base, steal bases, and score runs. She was fantastic in the middle infield and at that leadoff spot. And then Ella Parker and Cassidy Pickering. How do you choose between these two? Both had monster falls after great freshman seasons. I think that is very important that they showed up this fall and looked like even better players than they did last year, or last season, I should say, which is really difficult to do. OU played 8 fall games this year. And in 6 of the 8 fall games this year, either Cassidy Pickering or Ella Parker homered in those games. There were only 2 games throughout the fall. The Mid-America Christian game and the final Battle Series game, the first Battle Series game, where either Parker or Pickering didn't home run. They were both fantastic. It's really difficult to choose between these 2 players. But I'm going to go with Cassidy Pickering. Cassidy Pickering had 7 home runs in the 8 fall games. She was on an absolute tear from the word go this fall. And though it's really hard not to pick Ella Parker because I do think that she could be maybe the single best hitter in all of college softball this year, Cassidy Pickering is going to be right there with her step for step. Pickering 7 home runs, her multi-hit games, just how consistent she was all fall long. Cassidy Pickering is my offensive most outstanding player from this fall. The long ball, hitting balls in the gap, getting on base, scoring runs. Cassidy Pickering did everything at the plate throughout the fall. She wins offensive most outstanding player. The next category is pitcher of the fall, and I think that this one's probably easy, right? But here are my 3 nominees. Sam Landry, of course, is a nominee. I put Audrey Lowry as a nominee and Kirsten Deal as a nominee as well. All 3 had very good falls. Audrey Lowry looked very good as a freshman. Kirsten Deal really started to turn it on late throughout the fall schedule, but it's Sam Landry. Guys, come on. Consistently dominance. OU hitters, non-OU hitters, it really didn't matter who Sam Landry faced throughout the fall. She was consistently in command, and the consistency, that's ace-level stuff. It did not matter who she was facing. She could be facing Ella Parker and Cassidy Pickering, or she could be facing Seminole State. It did not matter. It looked like you were getting the same version, the high-level version of Sam Landry. Start in, start out, relief appearance in, relief appearance out. She threw a lot of innings this fall, both as a starter, both in relief. She was fantastic in every single situation that she was put in. She showed a lot of traits as a true ace. I think it's very clear right now if OU had to play a game tomorrow, a very important game tomorrow, who would be starting in the circle? It's Sam Landry. Others had really good fall seasons as well, but Sam Landry has to be the pitcher of the fall for OU softball. Next up is defensive MVP, and I found this one very interesting. Even with just the 3 nominees, not just the winner, you might even disagree with the 3 nominees that I have attached to the defensive most outstanding player award. Nellie McEnroe Moranis, fantastic at third base. Feel very confident she's going to be your starting third baseman to begin the 2025 season. As consistent as it gets over there, made a couple of amazing plays over at third base. Nellie gets a submission. Gabby Garcia really flashed with the glove as a true freshman. She could very well be your starting shortstop from day one. We could be talking about a 4-year starter at shortstop potentially with Gabby Garcia. She made a lot of great plays defensively. And then I'm going to go with Abigail Dayton in the outfield. Abby Dayton, I think what we thought we were getting for a center fielder, for an outfielder, she can make the routine plays, she can make the incredible plays. Really like what Abigail Dayton did for you, not only offensively, but certainly defensively as well. But for the winner, I'm going with Nellie. I'm going with Nelly at third base, playing the hot corner against so many good hitters in the battle series. The plays that she made, routine, amazing otherwise. I thought Nelly was consistently good throughout the fall. I really like her at third base. She was kind of my sleeper pick to really pop before the fall season started, and she even exceeded my expectations. So you guys know I love me some Nelly. I got to say that every single episode because it's true. And I'm not even biased here. I really do think Nelly was the defensive most outstanding player. But Nelly McEnroe-Moranis, to me, was the defensive most outstanding player this fall. Next up is the transfer portal player of the fall. Now, I made the claim before the fall started that I thought that this was the best transfer portal class in all of college softball this cycle. Obviously, they didn't get Nyjah Kennedy. I didn't really care if they got Nyjah Kennedy or not. My opinion wasn't going to change. When you have so many players that are so accomplished throughout other conferences in college softball, I felt pretty good that this was the best portal class that college softball had to offer, and then seeing their performances throughout the fall, yeah, I'm not going to change my mind. I feel even better about this portal class now seeing them throughout the course of 8 games throughout the fall. I'm not going to include Sam Landry on this list because I think, honestly, she'd be a runaway, and I might have her as another winner of another major category coming up soon as a little bit of a tease. So I'm going to exclude Sam Landry from the list and just focus on position players for transfer portal player of the fall. Our nominees are Ailana Agbayani. What a fall that she had on the middle infield leadoff spot. I think that's where she's going to be for the 2025 season. Abigail Dayton gave you a lot of great things at the plate, in the outfield as well. And then how about Isabella Emerling, right? At catcher, she's going to be your day one catcher, your starting catcher, I would assume, and really turned it on offensively throughout the back half of the fall. Really started to see that power that Isabella Emerling has. I like her a lot. Comes from North Carolina with a really impressive resume, and I think that she's due for a terrific, and I mean terrific, 2025 season. But my winner, transfer portal player of the fall, Ailana Agbayani. I had her as a nominee for offensive most outstanding player. I almost had her as a nominee for defensive most outstanding player. It felt like she was getting 3 or 4 hits every time she was up there. I thought she was very solid defensively, no matter the position that she plays. She says, put me anywhere. Put me at catcher for all I care. I just want to be out there competing. Big fan of Ailana Agbayani. She's going to be one of the best leadoff hitters in the SEC. Transfer portal player of the fall, to me, is the BYU transfer. She was fantastic. Next award is freshman of the fall. Who is the true freshman of the fall for Oklahoma softball? Here are my 3 nominees. Gabby Garcia, and how fantastic she was at shortstop throughout the fall. Tia Malloy, who showed us a lot of things before or while she was available. Certainly the front half of the fall, Tia Malloy was really good. And then Audrey Lowry, the freshman that we were all waiting to see in the circle and did not disappoint. Garcia, Malloy, Lowry, my 3 nominees for freshman of the fall. And the winner is Audrey Lowry. Audrey Lowry could be the number 2 pitcher for this team, could be the closer for this team, could be a fantastic reliever for this team. She showed that she can do all of those things as a true freshman, and she's only going to get better and only got better throughout the fall as well under Jen Rocha. I am very high on Audrey Lowry. I think that she's going to play a very big role in this rotation. I do think Garcia, Malloy, and some others such as Sid Barker, true freshmen, will play a big role in this team. But I thought Audrey Lowry consistently was really good. Like what I saw, just like the pure stuff that she has in the circle. Audrey Lowry, my freshman of the fall for Sooner softball. And then last but certainly not least, the biggest award of them all, the overall most outstanding player. Who was overall the most outstanding player overall throughout the fall? My nominees are Sam Landry. My nominees are Cassidy Pickering. And my nominees are Ella Parker. You got Landry, Parker, Pickering. I feel pretty good about those 3 nominees for overall most outstanding player. I can make a case for any of the 3. I really can. I can easily make a case for Parker and just how consistently she got on base, hit the ball well out of the ballpark, just the star power that was there for her. I can easily make a case for Cassidy Pickering. I already thought that she's your offensive most outstanding player, 7 home runs, which led the team. The case is rather easy for Cassidy Pickering. But for overall most outstanding player, I think it's got to be Sam Landry. It was the biggest story throughout the fall, the biggest thing that happened for OU softball throughout the fall. You were looking to find your ace, right? You were looking for that pitcher to kind of fill the role of Kelly Maxwell. Who's going to look like that ace? Because you're going to need one. It's the biggest question mark of the team. Who's going to be that ace for the 2025 season? We got a long way to go. We've got several months here before we get to the 2025 season. But Sam Landry was just so good. And she wasn't just good against Seminole or A&M Commerce or ULM or MACU. She was good against the best lineup in all of college softball. Sub-1 ERA, multiple strikeouts, very few walks, did not give up a home run. Cannot say enough great things about Sam Landry. Just consistently 4 innings pitched, 0 runs, 1 hit allowed, 7 strikeouts, no walks. That felt like a very consistent stat line for Sam Landry. It's hard not to give it to Ella Parker. It's even harder not to give it to Cassidy Pickering. But Sam Landry did enough to me to be the overall most outstanding player this fall for Oklahoma softball. So there's my awards, the awards show. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching.